Hi students, today we are going to take a new topic which is actually not related to sociology or not much related to sociology but related to polity. The idea of democracy is there in your topic, democratic system. In that there is a concept called separation of power. Normally you see this idea or this sentence, separation of power, discussed in many polity books. But what is that? Really, what is that? This is a question that we'll have to answer. Normally we say, in a state, you got executive function, judicial function and legislative function. These are being clearly demarcated, or the borders between these are being clearly demarcated. This is called separation of power. But my headache is not that. You obviously know this. But my headache is related to a question, why this is needed, how it came into existence. That is the point which I want to debate on. If you go to the feudal mode of production, you can see a king at the top, and king is holding executive power, judicial power and legislative power. That means what you see in a state now is been entirely focused on one person. That means king is holding or king is handling all the systems. Here there is a word you can use, or there is a sentence you can use, absolute power corrupt absolutely. So when a person holds the entire power, there is a high chance the system will become despotic. So to have or to avoid this despotic tendency in any nation state, what you have to have is to separate it. So what we are going to do is, you have to separate these departments or separate these units. So you got an executive, you got a legislative unit, similarly you got a judicial system. So one person is not focusing on all those things. You got different departments. In fact, the idea of separation of power is reducing the power of the king, or power of the kings existed then. So it becomes democratic. This is actually an idea that coined by Montesquieu. Montesquieu is a French philosopher, thinker. He was a person who brought in this idea. So this is the idea which we follow these days. So what I want to say is, when you learn about state, when you learn about nation states without boundary, you obviously face this question, what is separation of power? And you know the difference between all. But the fact of the matter is that you are avoiding focusing on one person, centering the power on one person. Let me take an example. India, obviously you know the case where you got a judicial, executive and the other units. But let me go to United States. If you go to United States, the executive is completely separated from the legislature. In India, for example, Modi ji has been elected to the legislative assembly or to the parliament, and he becomes the executive. So this person should be a member here. But if you take the case of United States, there the executive has got no connection with the legislature. They got a Senate that is separate. That means Donald Trump is not a member of the American Senate. He has got no connection. So in fact, from this example of the US and India, if you make a comparison, the separation of power is more prominent in the United States. So what I want to discuss is about this idea, because this is not being mentioned clearly everywhere. So I just want to make you more understand this idea. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. If you have any doubts, write it to us. Thank you.